What's up, guys? Just want to give you a little heads up here. A small apology. We had a few sound issues during the recording of this podcast. So you will notice them, just little ones here and there, but I wanted to give a little heads up and apology ahead of time. And we will make sure we get those resolved for next time. So thank you and enjoy the podcast. What's up, everyone, and welcome to the Quick Diz Takes podcast, episode number 51. Yep, right, we are on the other side of 50 now, heading towards 100, and we'd like to thank you for your support and the listenership for getting us to episode 50, and hopefully we can do the groundwork to get to 100. So don't be shy, smash the subscribe button, like button, leave comments. All that good stuff keeps the podcast going, lets me know that you guys are listening. And I found out this week because my podcast platform that provides the podcast for us now has a stat sheet, and we are apparently huge in Germany, Spain, Denmark, UK. When I say huge, I mean we got a couple of listeners here and there. But we're popping up around the map, so pretty cool. And a couple of the states in the country besides messing around, we got Florida, Virginia, Georgia was on there. So we're making our way. And we got about 5 listeners in Florida consistently every week, I've noticed, for like the last month. So I don't know if you guys, anybody here has friends down there, or we're just, actually getting to, extend it out to an audience. But either way, thanks for the support once again. And the likes, subscribes, and reviews, all that stuff helps. So keep them coming. Anyway, this week, we are going to continue with the attractions, what we like, what we don't like, and what we change. We are going to go with Splash Mountain this week, which is another very difficult one as far as what you don't like and what you want to change. And in the second segment, we will discuss retheming an area of the Magic Kingdom to a property that is not Disney. And half the challenge is finding a property that is not Disney these days. But I'm sure we're a bunch of smart people. I'm sure we figured it out. So we're going to start with Sarah Patterson. And what do you have for us on Splash Mountain?
All right. So Splash Mountain is one of my absolute favorite rides there. But for disliking it, I know they can't really change this, but I think like one of the worst parts about it is like after you get on the log, and you like sit down, the seat's like already wet, and that just like first instant, I don't know why, I just hate that feeling, even though I know I'm gonna get wet already. It's just such an awful feeling. I know they can't change that. And then I gotta say, I think they could definitely like add a little bit, like when they're out, as soon as you leave the track and like you're outside going back inside, it's kind of just like really bare right there, I feel like. It's just kind of like the red rock. There's only a couple little signs, nothing really that big or whatever. So it'd be cool to see like something else in there. But for likes, I love the ride. It's one of my favorites. I go on it multiple times when I'm there during the day. That's really all I got to say on it.
Johnny?
Well, it's the same with me. This is like probably, I think when we did our top rides, this was like in my top 3 rides in the whole, in all of Disney. Say my favorite part of the ride, for some, I like that whole like riverboat scene at the end. You come around the corner and you see the little zippity doodah thing. I don't know. I just really like that scene. I also like the detail they put into like everybody's house, like along when you're riding at the beginning, and there's like the little houses on the side, the tree houses, and just everybody, it's just fun looking at everybody's finding everybody's house. The really, I mean, besides like that one section where you kind of get stopped sometimes and you get wet, like when it's coming down the side of the mountain, I mean, that's kind of nitpicky with getting wet. But as far as like a scene, I don't I don't think I'm not that big of a fan of that dark scene where you come in and there's like the turtles and the frogs, and the turtles are floating on their backs, and you got the little like splash things. I don't know. That full section just is kind of
The laughing place scene, I believe it is.
Yeah, like that's just that first section with the the water bouncing up and stuff. It's just kind of boring. It's not like that. I don't know. That's just me.
All right. Good.
So I actually had something very similar to Sarah with the outside decorating. I guess I felt it was very bare, and there's only like that one little spot where you can see. I think it's like laundry hanging up. But other than that, it's just kind of the briar patch. And I know it's meant to be a briar patch, but it's a bit bare to be a patch. But there's nothing really, like I felt like they could have added more, made it more patchy, you know. But I don't like having a wet bum when I sit down, Sarah, even though I know I'm going to get wet. It's like the flume ride on any like amusement park you go on. You know you're getting wet and you sit down like, oh, the worst. No. Make sure I don't wear denim shorts on that day.
Yeah, I think the getting wet thing is it's so funny. You know you're gonna get soaked, but yet you're somehow hate the idea of sitting in it at first and getting soaked just to start. Like, I don't know if does it feel kind of like it getting somebody else's wet on you or something. I don't know.
It's just like a cringy feeling at first, I guess.
Yeah. All right. So I would say, first of all, if anyone ever asked me what ride, like if I had to pick a ride to describe to somebody why I like Disney, and it's never been before, I think Splash, even though I always say Haunted Mansion is my favorite ride, which it is, I do think Splash Mountain like is the best ride in the sense of like it represents everything Disney does well. It has the family thrill element, it has a perfect amount of dark ride elements, and I mean you get your bang for your buck for the wait with I don't know like a 9 or 10 minute ride time. With that said, my favorite part is just before Johnny's least favorite part is the actual drop that brings you into the laughing place. I like the idea that you kind of can't see it coming. I remember as a kid going on that for like the first time and that really kind of getting me. And I've liked it since. The part I don't really care for is I don't even know if this is structurally possible how all these rides work, but I wish that you just progressively climb the mountain to the final drop instead of like going through the mountain, dropping, and then having to climb back up one more time. I guess you could argue that buildup is part, could be considered part of the fun, but I just think it'd be kind of cool if you just kind of came around the corner and boom, right down the drop. Of course, I'm picking that because this is a bunch of nitpicking right now because there's nothing I can really say about that ride I don't like. But I mean, I guess if that would be the one thing I don't like and the one thing that I would change if I really had to. Other than that, I think it's kind of a perfect ride. I gave it a 10 out of 10 on one of my videos on the channel, and they're retheming it. Obviously, we all know that, but I think no matter what property's in there, it's just going to be an amazing ride. The track layout's awesome. All you got to do is make sure you don't screw up the animatronics and the storyline. It'll be great. So, for me, that ride's a tough one to do on this type of discussion, but it's pretty much perfect. Anyway, new to the show this week is Steven, and so we will throw this question your way now, Steven. I know you didn't have as much time as we had to do this or whatever, but do your best.
Oh, no worries. So you're talking about maybe things that they can improve, so first of all, what I love about it, I actually like that first drop. It's fun if you have someone new with you. And you can use that to kind of prank them a little bit, like, get ready, and then, it's not really that bad. As far as what they can improve, it's kind of looking at it from a different perspective. But I wish they would have almost like, a secondary track that they could run when the first one's under refurbishment. It's for about 2 or 3 months a year. Splash Mountain's down, and it's such an iconic ride that people save up, and it's a lot of money to go down there, and it's one of those rides, that really it's on everyone's short list. So honestly, the only improvement I could think of is if they would have a secondary track that they could run during those fall months when it's, you know, under construction, when it's under maintenance. So that would probably be the biggest improvement that I could think of that would be most beneficial, you know, to the consumers.
Yeah, that's a really good point actually, because my family we usually go in January, and every other year, so we always fall into that window where Splash Mountain isn't open. And the worst thing they do is when sometimes they're refurbing it, but they're running it with like sandbags in the carts and things.
Yeah.
So you're walking around the park, and then you get to just see, you just like, what a waste. Run those cars, and not anyone can get on it. It is kind of a terrible thing, and they do refurb it quite often.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's actually a really good point. Anyway, I want to hear everyone's ideas for the land. So, Johnny, we'll start with you. What land did you pick, and what property did you pick for retheming?
Okay, what did I have? I had Adventureland. Now, are we doing the land and what our icon is too of the castle? Was that?
Yeah, we'll get to. I think we'll wait to the end. We'll all do the icon.
Okay. So the whole land part, I kind of, instead of being like thinking what I would just want the land to be, I kind of went with what would work for everybody. And I don't know, I kind of was toying with a couple, but I chose The Wizard of Oz, just The Wizard of Oz movie. Now, I know Disney made, you know, The Great and Powerful Oz, and they made that sequel.
Yeah, Return to Oz. Yep.
So, but Disney doesn't own The Wizard of Oz. Warner Brothers owns it. I made sure. So I cut my idea of it was either end you come in. I'm sure they could somehow make it so it looks like you're walking into black and white, and then sudden, you know, it kind of can fade into the color. I don't know. I guess you could, whatever you do with the foliage and stuff, they could kind of give you that transition from when she's, you know, in the house to going into Oz or Munchkin Land, wherever she is. I kind of tried to keep it to what rides and stuff was already there and just kind of tweak it. So like it was, I think you'd have to change like the Swiss Family Treehouse a little bit. I would kind of make it so you could keep it through like a walkthrough thing, but kind of change it to sort of the beginning of the Yellow Brick Road, like sort of a Munchkin Land type of thing, where you can kind of walk through as they build the facade of the houses and kind of keep it along that same line. And as far as like, what else would we do?
Jungle Cruise.
Yeah, you could I was thinking Jungle Cruise. Maybe you do. You could kind of start the story from after Munchkin Land, where you can kind of use that as your transition from, you know, meeting the Tin Man, Scarecrow, and the Lion, to getting to the Emerald City, and kind of using that as the beginning of the, like, that first half of the movie, where you kind of end, you know, you could, you know, see the whole, like, the end of the ride type would be like where, you know, they get all fixed up and all that, you know, just kind of keeping, I guess, a dark ride, but you're outside type of vibe to it. As far as I'd keep like the spinner, where you could, of the magic carpet, you could maybe alternate with a flying monkey and a balloon. Kind of just keep that like little, just to keep something. Oh, I forgot the Tiki Room was there. What kind of a show could you do the Tiki Room? Maybe, I don't know, maybe Tiki Room, you could kind of do like just maybe go like with a Frozen sing-along type of thing, where they just kind of use all the songs and kind of keep it something along those lines. And then just for like in the place of pirates, I'd go like the back of the movie, where you kind of go through the witches, you know, the whole witch, getting rid of the witch scene, going out, you know, through her castle, and then through the whole end of everybody getting their little medals and her flying back home. So it's just kind of, I know, like, you know, The Wizard of Oz was like a big hit in the Great Movie Ride, so I kind of was figuring I mean, everybody knows the movie from, older people to little kids. So it kind of goes the whole range. Just trying to keep it not just something for myself, because I was torn with like a Rambo land, but that would be kind of too adult.
Awesome. Save that for another part of the park.
Yeah.
You could even have the Munchkins put on a little performance where Tiki Room is. Little
Yeah.
animatronic Munchkins.
Yeah.
Well, there's a ton you can do with Wizard of Oz.
Yeah. So just try,
Wizard of Oz.
keep it family friendly.
Yeah. All right, Skook.
So I did not think of the family friendly. I was just thinking of kids. And I kind of went through a few different things, and I was like, oh, too adult. And then I was like, what about SpongeBob? I feel like that show has been on forever. I was looking some stuff up online. I think it's one of the longest running cartoons aside from South Park. And I feel like there's adult jokes, there's the slapstick for kids, and just the silliness. So I went with the SpongeBob theme. I did kind of go through theming most of the park, or that section. So I had Frontierland. So I had kind of gone through and said, so Splash Mountain could be like Jellyfish Fields, and he's on a jellyfishing trip with Patrick, and you're going through and you're trying to catch jellyfish. Big Thunder Mountain 2, I have SpongeBob on a driving lesson gone wrong with Mrs. Puff's driving school. And so that's where you get kind of that jerky, kind of unstable driving lesson. Country Bear Jamboree, I rethemed to Squidward Symphony. You can keep, the cheesy animatronics, and you can make it still a musical review type show. And so that kind of fit. I did get a little stuck with Tom Sawyer's Island. And the only thing I think of, Sandy Cheek lives in that like giant oak tree under the middle of the ocean. And I don't know if you can make that like Sandy's area almost, I guess. I was thinking of like eateries. You could have the obvious like Krusty Krab and Chum Bucket for like quick service, but and I was kind of at a loss for the arcade. You could just kind of put SpongeBob, pinball and video games in there and kind of call it a day. But kind of went with the SpongeBob route.
All right. Makes sense. And it's been featured in other theme parks before and stuff, so it's obviously an idea that other people have liked.
I was getting stuck on the arcade, and so I was just kind of like trying to come up with ideas, and I was looking like online at episode lists, and then I came across, it's actually like part of a water park in Germany, and I was like, oh no, but nothing that I had come up with was in it. It was because it's all water park related.
Gotcha. Sarah.
So I had Fantasyland, and I came up with like a Scooby-Doo land, because that kind of fits with everybody. It's one of my favorite shows. And I kind of just like rechanged the rides over there into something that would fit. So I had like The Little Mermaid would be like the sea monster movie with Scooby-Doo. And you had like all the sea monsters behind that TV screen and everything like that, and you're getting chased by them. The Mine Train would be like Miner 49er. The Carousel.
Like that.
The Carousel would be like, have like all of the villains, and then just like the original cast, Scooby, Daphne, and all of them on there. And then Winnie the Pooh ride, since it's like so bumpy and like the spot with like Tigger, you're bouncing up and down. That episode of the Mystery Machine where like the machine turns evil and it like starts chasing them and everything, and it takes over. So it's like kind of like you're in there and like you're going crazy riding it. Peter Pan, I thought of like the Redbeard pirate episode, because it keeps like the pirate ships themes going on there. Then the Enchanted Tales of Belle, I kind of like had a really tough time thinking something about that. So I thought about like one of the gang members is still there, and you kind of like solve a mystery or something, and like you have them interact with the kids and stuff like that, how they do with Belle. And then Dumbo flying elephant, you could be like the pterodactyl. That's in like the movies and the TV shows that they have going on there. And then I had a really tough time with It's a Small World. Just because that song and like trying to put something in there. So I kind of just like thought of like the theme song or whatever. And it could be like all different episodes or movies. They're somewhere new every single time. And kind of just bounce it off of that.
Can't be any worse. It's a small world.
What?
But it couldn't get any worse. It's always it's a small world out of there. It's an improvement. I know Sarah's mad. She's shaking her head.
I like that ride.
I do like that ride too.
I do.
Especially now it like syncs to your magic band. It says goodbye to you. Such a simple thing makes you so irrationally happy.
I hate it, but I'm always on it, kind of thing. Right. All right. So, unlike you, the other 3 years so far, I did not take children into consideration, and I am going to theme tomorrow. Well, Tomorrowland was the land that I had, and I am going to theme it after The Office. And we are going to start with, and we have only 10 more minutes. So, okay, thank you. We are going to start with Buzz Lightyear, which I am going to retheme to Dwight Schrute's paintball run and gun attraction. We'll play some paintball with some of our favorite Office characters. We will then move over to the Monsters Inc. laugh floor, where we will be greeted by Mike and Holly for a little round of Slummed Under Millionaire. Which, I mean, Johnny's already ready to buy it. He's ready. He's got his fast passes.
I'm all in. I'll invest. How much money you need?
In Carousel Progress, we're going to feature pretty typical scenes. I was thinking, like, each scene will be Michael's office, and he'll be explaining the history and stuff of Dunder Mifflin. And then the little side stage things, you'll have Dwight on one side, kind of being an Uncle Orville character, being grumpy and like kind of telling you other things, and then Pam at her desk on the other one, lighting up through various scenes, going through the history of the company. Yeah, I thought about this a lot, by the way. We will have a drunken ride home from Port Richards, where Tomorrowland Speedway is, and there will be a Meredith animatronic in the miniaturized minivans that we will be driving home through the track. Space Mountain will be rethemed to escape from the office during Dwight's fire alarm attraction. I gotta think of a better name. And we will get and die through fake fire and smoke. Probably, I was thinking maybe have like one scene where as you go down a dip, it's like a window, and then all of a sudden you see like Michael throw the, overhead projection as the window shadows, you go through, and then right at the end you go underneath Stanley having a heart attack. And
Does a cat fall on you?
Yeah, you might. Throw a
It's a
cat.
bandit.
I didn't think of that, but yeah. And then maybe as you unload, you will be right into the middle of a scene where they're all learning how to resuscitate victims.
Gift shop can sell.
Oh, the people over are having a hard time with that. It might just be a generic tour around, it wouldn't be Tomorrowland anymore, it'd be Scranton. So something like that going on. And some character meet and greets in the Stitch location. And I don't know, Dwight's Hail Bay Top Spinner where Astro Orbiters is. So here's your office part of the Magic Kingdom, and I think it would be the best part of the park by far.
If it makes you super happy, Tim, when I realized, oh no, there's SpongeBob stuff in Germany, The Office was my backup. So we could build off of yours. We could just extend it to those 2 sections of Magic Kingdom.
And I gotta give a little credit to my wife too. She helped out on some of the ideas for those attractions. All right, so Stephen, I'm not sure if you had time to think about this or anything, or do you have something you want to throw out there?
Yeah, so I had Liberty Square, which doesn't it doesn't have too much. I had a few ideas.
All right.
So my first idea was Lord of the Rings, but then
I'm on board.
But then thinking about what Sarah had mentioned, but what about the kids? So I'm like, all right, well, the kids probably are going to be that much into Hobbits and Second Breakfast. So the second idea I had was Willy Wonka. I thought that'd be really great. Candy. You could make it like old school England. Obviously, is that where it took place? Well, wherever it is. You could really make it up and have kids go into the you know the factory, right? And just from marketing and how much you would be able to sell, I mean, I'm sure Disney can make those little cups that are also sure can be eaten. So I think they would have a lot of fun. I think the thing the idea that had the most teeth to it, though, where I settled on, was Shrek. And that was my final answer, was Shrek, just because, number one, they tie in throughout the movie Disney characters, the ones that are public domain, so they don't have to pay the rights for them. And then looking at the different rides, so first of all, they have the boat, right? Well, Shrek, when he goes to get, the prince, I think voiced by Justin Timberlake, he was on a boat, and that kind of plays towards that. You have Land Far, Far Away. You have Lord Farquaad's. You have, go in and get a pint, kind of thing. And Swamp. So I think for kids, I think Shrek would be probably one of the better. Now, what they would do with like Hall of Presidents, I don't know, maybe Hall of Ogres. I'm sure they would come up with something interesting. But I think Shrek would be, because it ties in with Disney already, and especially the fact that Cinderella's in the movie and her castle is literally a stone's throw away. I think one kind of leads to the other. So, I mean, Pinocchio is there, so it kind of helps tie almost like the whole park, because there's a Pinocchio's place for kids to eat, and so it just kind of opens up to mascots or the characters that we're familiar with, and also bring in some other ones, and it'd be just the parade. Just the parade would be fun to watch. So
I'm down with that. I think Disney would love the Lord of the Rings idea, though, because imagine all the money they can make on selling the idea that people need to eat, excuse me, 2 breakfasts instead of on a Disney vacation. So for the like $150, you could go to be our guest twice, or whatever.
Check out breakfast, first breakfast, second breakfast, brunch, lunch.
Well, the fun part is whether you did Lord of the Rings or whether you do Shrek, the big turkey leg fits both those themes.
Yeah, that's true too.
So it's a twofer.
Yeah, I like that. All right, so we got a few minutes left. I know we talked about doing replacing the icon in the middle of the park, just because obviously we're replacing all the lands. And Johnny, and I could tell at the top of the show you had one ready to go. So if you want to start us off with what you would put in the middle of this new park.
Oh, I'm going with
random park.
This is all selfish for me. It's the it's Back to the Future clock tower.
Oh, just Sarah.
It would be, you have to make it bigger than it really is. But it lends itself to being something everybody knows. See, everybody wants that picture in front of the clock tower. But then it works out for like a nighttime show too, because if it's big enough, you can project scenes on it itself. The music from Back to the Future is good, so you can have that soundtrack, and you can also use the same thing with like Tinkerbell jumping off the top of the castle. You got that whole scene at the end of Back to the Future 1 where Doc has to slide down before the lightning bolt. So you can have Doc jump, and then the lightning bolt strikes, and then you have the whole.
That's pretty good, actually.
So I don't know. I was just being selfish with that, just because.
Skook, what do you got?
So mine tied into my rethemed land with SpongeBob. So mine would be the pineapple. You could keep the Dole Whips because they're delicious, and why not? But I did kind of connect mine to my land.
Okay. I was just gonna go with the same thing. I'm gonna put the Dunder Mifflin office building smack dab in the middle of it.
You wouldn't do a Dundee?
Huh?
You wouldn't do a Dundee?
Yeah, I think I would just put that there. Have Bob Vance wandering around as a character. Just keep it simple. We got less than a minute, so Sarah, real quick.
So I was going to do something with Scooby-Doo, but then Grace gave me a good idea.
Okay.
The Jumanji Rock. Like that big jaguar in front of there.
Nice. And when you're just completely broke, you can go to the top of it and scream Jumanji.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right, Steven?
I'm going to say the Chocolate Factory from Willy Wonka.
That would look pretty cool.
I just think candy, and you can even have some of the cast members come out and do the whole,
Yeah.
somersault. And cast members can ask you if you have a never-ending, gobstopper, and so I just think a lot of fun.
All right, cool. We will continue attractions next week, and I hate to rush out of here, but we have less than a minute according to my Zoom meeting time, so that'll wrap it up. Once again, subscribe, like, and we'll see everybody next week. See you guys later.
Thank you so much.
Later.